and sway into the music.
Hi, everybody. It's Kellie Jo and Randi from Real Estate Date with Coldwell Banker Prime Properties, might we add.
Are we really starting? I'm
Yeah.
just swaying.
Girl, let's just start. All right, y'all get it. Go to our YouTube channel, Real Estate Date, Kellie Jo and Randi.
Yes.
And subscribe or even hit the little bell.
Randy, what does the bell do?
Oh, the bell.
Tell me about the bell.
Well, right now it's hurt my ear, but it will remind you and give you a little, hey, a new video came out whenever we publish a new video. So
Yay.
if you want to know, do the bell. So
I could do that all day.
Step 5, home buying. All right, we're buying a home, and this is step 5. Go to our other videos. You'll see step 1 through 4. This is where we want to discuss contracts. So after you've looked and you have found the one that you think this could be it on the contract, so we're gonna start filling the contract out. And what does that look like if I was to say, hey Kelly, this is the house that I wanted, the house you emailed me, we looked at it, I love it, I want to put an offer in.
What does it look like? I think it's like 8 by 10 white.
That's a small house.
Oh, I couldn't resist, sorry. Okay, contracts. Bring it in, Kel. Contracts, is there 5 or 7 pages? Either way, there are a lot of pages to the contract. The first page talks about what you're offering to the seller. So you're gonna sit down with your realtor. These days you can do it electronically, you can talk over the phone, you can sign through email, it's fantastic. You're gonna sit down with your client. You're gonna say, what do you wanna offer the seller? We
Okay.
also need a down payment. In New York, you need a check to certify your down
Okay.
payment. You need to know how much money you're going to put out of pocket. Your bank will tell you this is
Okay.
what you did a couple steps prior, and then what you would be financing.
Okay.
You're also going to talk, I'll go through the quick steps and you can back up and ask me more
Okay.
questions. You're going to talk about, do you want a home inspection? Do you want a radon test? How long do you have to get those tests in? And if there are issues with the home inspection or radon, how long do you have to negotiate what you would like to see fixed or credited with the seller?
Okay.
That all is in the contract. Next would be appraisal.
Okay.
Okay, has to appraise for the value of what you're offering.
Okay.
Your realtor will help you with that. And then it basically goes from what the seller will give you at the closing table, an updated title of abstract, an updated survey, and
Okay.
it takes you all the way to closing and timelines. Does that
Okay.
give you a good idea?
Yeah. So what I heard was we come up with the price that we want to buy the house for,
Yep.
and you're gonna go over. You should know what the closing costs are
Yes.
through your lender.
You'll know that already.
Okay. And then what if we want to finance some of those closing costs?
Perfect question. Those are called what, Randy?
Concessions?
Yeah! Ring the bell. She got to take the spell away from me. Yeah, concessions are when you buy a house. There's bank fees, there's down payment. You have to pay your taxes up front. So it could be anywhere from $5,000, $10,000, or more. And your closing costs. Those are all the bank fees and whatever down payment that your loan requires, whether it's 3.5%, 5%, 10%, 20%.
Okay.
If you do not want or do not have $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 based on the size of the house, the bank normally will allow you to finance some of those closing costs. They're
Okay.
called seller's concessions. It just means the seller is allowing or conceding to allow you to finance those closing costs into the loan.
I think that's great to know because a lot of times people think they can't buy a home until they have a certain
Yeah.
amount saved up. And where, yes, that would be great to have
Yep.
that certain amount saved up. But if you're in a position that you need to move, to know that the financing your concessions or some of your closing costs, that's pretty helpful to...
Well, that's a good point because to buy a house, you really need just the deposit. You need some money for inspections.
Okay.
And then your bank would need a certain percentage. And
Okay.
sometimes that's as little as 3 or 3.5% based on the loan. If your VA bless our military, we love you. VA usually doesn't, you don't need any money down.
So there's different types of loans. We'll do that in a different video. So we've got the listing price, or what we're asking to purchase it for. We've got our concessions if we're doing that.
Yep.
Then we're going to determine whether or not we want an inspection or we want to waive that inspection. And that is up to you.
That is up to you. And in a seller's market like what's happening right now, side note, in a seller's market where there's no inventory, sometimes to win the house, the buyer can choose to waive the inspection. Now, we never advocate that. However, you know, I'm a builder's wife, so if my husband said he doesn't want an inspection, it's because he can fix whatever comes his way. But that's up to the buyer, and sometimes that happens, especially if the house is beautiful and immaculate, but you can waive that, yes.
So that's up to you.
Yep.
You can use that as a negotiation tool. You can use that as a way to save, you know, just
money,
a couple $100.
Time.
Yeah, time. So that, and then our radon test.
Yeah.
Here in New York, there's, you know, different areas, I guess, all over. There's different areas that have radon. It's a cancer-causing gas. And you can look more into that. But again, that's your decision whether or not you want to waive that or have the test done.
Perfect.
What else is? And then let's talk on the contingencies. There's a part where we can add the contingencies. Tell them, like, what are some typical
Well, some of the contingencies could be, like, I just wrote an offer and the furnace was older, and when we wrote the offer, one of the contingencies was that the seller would have the furnace inspected and cleaned so we know it was in working order, because it was older. We didn't even wait for the home inspection. We just did it. Home sale contingency. I have a house to sell.
If you have a house to sell, we're going to do... I really want to do a video on just that in itself.
Okay, you gotta pay me first.
Okay. Will you take my bell?
Sure.
So
home sale contingency.
Contingency. So basically that means I'm gonna buy the house contingent on if these things are done. Basically that means, like, I'm not gonna buy your house unless you fix some of this stuff.
And when you write the offer, you can ask for that contingency, but it's negotiable. So the seller can say yes or no and negotiate back to any of these terms.
And we'll talk about that in our next video on the negotiation part.
That was a good segue.
So are we, is that it on the contract? Is there anything else I should know on the contract?
Nope.
No?
If there is, we'll bring it up next time.
I feel like an expert.
I know, I think we hit all our highlights. If I missed something, realtors, colleagues, please comment. We'd love to hear from you. And now we want to talk about our beautiful mugs.
She doesn't know this, but these are for left-handed people.
No, I
Yes. She doesn't know why if I drink it with this.
I think it's because when you drink, you want to see the word. All right, who's right?
Fair enough.
Okay, if the handle's on this side.
No, you're right. I would like to see love. No, you're right.
What? What? Who's your mama?
You're right.
Who's your mama? So this is for grace and love. Why, Randy?
Because that's how we live, girl. We live. We give you grace.
And
you give us grace.
You give us love.
And
we'll give you
show
grace.
Love.
Amen.
Well, the right kind of love. I'm going to keep it professional. Okay.
And we're going to end